Welcome back everyone to another part of Publisher Mobile Gaming Roundup 2023. I hope you all are having a fabulous day, night, or evening wherever you are in the world. If you would like to know why I started this brand new series, then you can watch part 1 at the end of this video. But otherwise enjoy this part. So let's begin. Mega Man X Dive is a weird title. It was first released in Asia on March 24th, 2020. And the North American European release was August 16th, 2021. The game was developed and published by Capcom, but it was primarily developed by its Capcom company in Taiwan. The game used the Unity engine. I say used because on September 1st, 2023, the game actually received an offline version called Mega Man X Dive Offline, which is essentially the same game as Mega Man X Dive without any online components. So it's all premium, which means that, of course, Capcom removed the online version from Asia, Oceania, and Japan. But oddly enough, you can still get the North American and European online version on the App Store or Google Play Store by Young Chung Games. Now, the story actually recaps the events from the Mega Man X series. So the whole premise is that the protagonist, Mega Man X, is transported to the Deep Log, which is a database housing all of Mega Man X's stories and games, via some corrupted data called Maverick Data. And you must stop Maverick Data with the slow corruption of the Deep Log by traversing the Mega Man X games. Okay, let me get this out of the way. The base game price for Resident Evil Village 8 is $40. Yes, it's outrageous. I know it, you know it, Capcom doesn't know it. Because they need to make a living. For those who haven't played this game yet, then I'll tell you what the story is. Ethan is trying to find his wife Mia again after the events of Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. And instead in Louisiana, Chris Redfield relocates them to Europe. I won't give you any details regarding what the actual story is beyond that because I want you to experience it yourself. Beyond that, this is the entire story and full game of Resident Evil 8 Village on Apple devices. And I do mean full game because you have the DLC, Shadow of Rose, which is $20 as in-app purchase, as well as the mercenary content, as well as the complete graphical settings of the PC and console versions, which I have to say is a first for any mobile console game on mobile, because they normally don't have any console graphics or PC graphics. So this is good, and you will know this if you play the PC or console versions. Now, this game debuted on May 7, 2021 for platforms like the PS4, the PS5, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series SX. And it was ported to iPadOS and iOS on October 30th, 2023. And uses the same Resident Evil engine for graphics as consoles and PC. I shouldn't have to say this, but yes, this game is also on the Nintendo Switch, but the Nintendo Switch has 4 GB of RAM. Ergo, the Nintendo Switch can only play this game via remote play or iCloud play because this game requires 8 GB of RAM at minimum, which is why the consoles and the PC, as well as the Mac port and the iOS port can all play this game because they all have 8 gigabytes of RAM. Resident Evil 4 Remake is the same game as the 2005 original Resident Evil 4. If you don't know what the story of Resident Evil 4 is, then it's the same as the original Resident Evil 4 in 2005. But the whole premise is that Leon, who was traumatized after the events of Raccoon City, is now sent to somewhere in Europe to find the president's daughter. Now, Capcom did change some stuff and moved some stuff like bosses from the main campaign in Resident Evil 4 to the separate raids DLC included into the remake. But that was because they wanted to make separate raids feel more action-y. And also the mercenary mode from the PC and console versions also appears in the iOS version. And it has all the characters from the PC and console versions. This game originally came out on March 24th, 2023 for PS4, PS5, Windows, and Xbox Series SX. And on December 20th, 2023, Capcom ported Resident Evil 4 Remake to the iPhone 15 Pro and the M Series iPads, making it one of the shortest iOS console games to release on iOS at just 9 months from its launch in March to its conversion to iOS in December. And with the iOS conversion comes the RE Engine graphics engine from the consoles and PC port of the game. Though I shouldn't say this, but the Nintendo Switch cannot play this game natively. It can only play this game via remote play or cloud gaming, and that is because the Switch only has 4 gigabytes of RAM, whereas iOS, the iPhone 15 Pro, and the M Series iPads all have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and Resident Evil 4 Remake requires 8 gigabytes minimum to play on any console. So that is why the consoles, PC, iOS, and Mac ports can play this game, and why the Nintendo Switch cannot natively play this game. And this game concludes the publisher mobile gaming roundup for Capcom in the year 2023. Ending Extinction Forever is a indie survival adventure game. It was developed by Spanish studio Hero Beat Studios and published by German studio Handygames. So this game was developed for Microsoft Windows, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox 360 and released on July 19, 2022. The iOS and Android versions were released on February 7th, 2023. The premise of the story is basically you have a mother fox who is the last fox in the world trying to protect her 2 young cubs who accompany her. The cubs can learn different skills to help with survival. The art style is similar to games like Firewatch for consoles. Little Big Workshop is a simulation and management game developed by Mirage Game Studios, who has 11 developers, and published by Handygames. For macOS, Switch, PC, PS4, Xbox One on 17th of October 2019. And it was released to iOS and Android on June 16th of 2023. So the whole premise of the game is that you're basically a manager of a construction company and you're trying to oversee your workforce while also trying to stay on top and not get beat out by rival CEOs. If I had to say it's similar to something, I would say it's similar to Tropico by Feral Interactive that's on mobile, since that's also a management and economic type game. The name title, Little Bit Workshop, actually reminds me a little bit Planet, and the characters remind me of little Legos. Titan Quest has been re-released to mobile 5 times already, and I'm gonna go over every single one of them. Titan Quest, the original port, was developed and published by French game developer and publisher .emu for iOS May 19th, 2016, with Android on July 7th, 2016. And then it was required by Nordic and published again November 7th, 2018. But nothing was changed in this version. It was just called Titan Quest, but it was just under Nordic as publisher now. And then it was re-released that same year under a new developer named Handygames as Titan Quest HD. With the only difference is now you can buy the optional DLC called the Mortal Throne. It was released a 4th time, again under Handygames, this time called Titan Quest Legendary Edition on February 7, 2021. And this version included the other 2 DLCs called Ragnarok and its second and final DLC, Atlantis. And now Handygames has chosen to release it again for a 5th time as now currently Titan Quest Ultimate Edition that contains all the DLCs and bug fixes from all of the previous Titan Quest games. SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake acts like a spiritual successor to SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. And in my opinion, that's mostly due to both games having a very complete standalone storyline and also a over-the-top storyline that doesn't really make any sense. So just like SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, this game was actually published by Nordic and developed by Purple Lamp. This game was released for consoles such as the Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, Windows, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S on January 31st, 2023. The iOS version of this game debuted on December 12th, 2023, and the Android version debuted December 21st, 2023. And just like SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated that Purple Lamp made, this game is also in the game engine graphics of Unreal Engine 4. The premise of this game is that because of some shenanigans that SpongeBob and Patrick, mainly Patrick, have made with a fortune-telling mermaid, SpongeBob then has to travel across alternate realities called Wish Worlds with the help of Patrick in order to save their friends and the town of Bikini Bottom from being destroyed by some cosmic goo. You can pick up this game on the App Store for $10, and the Google Play Store would probably be similar in price. But you can really see how since I'm traversing the world, how this game feels a lot bigger than SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Mostly because SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom was a PS2 game, And this game is a PS4 game. So the scope and size is going to be different because 2 generations of consoles apart. Graphically, because SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom was a remake, and SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake both have Unreal Engine 4, they don't look really too different. Unlike Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, this game does make a lot of references to the TV show, which is a nice nod of nostalgia, since this game came out years after 2005. This game concludes Handygames mobile publisher gaming Roundup of 2023. The original version of Myst was developed by Cyan Inc. and published by Roundup for the Macintosh computers on September 24th, 1993. I say original because there are so many ports of this game to various systems. And actually, you can get the original Myst on mobile, along with their updated graphic version of that game called Real Myst for mobile. In September 2020, Cyan Inc. released an updated version of Real Myst to feature compatibility with high-resolution widescreen TVs, virtual reality, and it remade all the game worlds in fully 3D environments. So that was released to iOS and Android on February 7th, 2023. And it was also remade in the graphics engine of Unreal Engine 4. The story is largely the same as in Myst and also in Real Myst, and all of those are available for iOS if you want to go to the publisher page. But in case you haven't played Myst before, the premise is basically the synopsis, since I haven't played Myst or Real Myst or even Myst Mobile. The synopsis is that you're thrust into an island. You have to unravel what happened to the island to free some people who are trapped on the island. And you actually progress to each new area throughout the island via solving puzzles. And there are a lot of puzzles in this game. But I would say in terms of graphics, this is the most beautiful version out of all of them, thanks to it being an Unreal Engine 4. And I know you're just seeing the starting area of me play, but this game really does have some very beautiful and detailed locations in Unreal Engine 4. And if you already played the original Myst, then you already know what those areas are. And this is the only version of Myst on the App Store that is initially free, but then you'll have to pay $15 as an in-app purchase. So it's worthwhile to play it as a demo first, to check it out and see if you like it. And then if you like it, buy the full game to play the other areas. This is it for the roundup of Cyan World's Mobile Gaming 2023 Roundup. Legend of Keepers is a dungeon management simulations game developed and published by Goblins Studio for Mac, Linux, Windows, and Nintendo Switch on April 29th, 2021. Game uses the Unity engine and the iOS and Android ports of the game debuted on May 23rd, 2023. The game also has some rogue-like elements to it. So every campaign is going to be different, and every dungeon is going to be different. It costs $7 USD in the App Store, or the equivalent Android store. Shapes Mobile is a indie factory simulation developed by Tobias Springer, where your goal is to make abstract shapes in a relaxed environment. And as you build more and more shapes up, progressing up into the story, your shapes will inevitably get more and more complex as you try to become more of a complex factory. Shapes was released on June 7, 2020 for Windows, and the iOS and Android version of Shapes Mobile released December 5th, 2023. Little Nightmares is a puzzle adventure game developed by Tarsier Studios and published by Bandai Namco Entertainment for the PS4, Xbox One, Windows, and Nintendo Switch on April 28, 2017. The iOS and Android ports of Little Nightmares were developed and published by PLAYDIGIOUS on 12th of December 2023. The story is pretty simple. You have a little girl who's trapped in a vessel, and you have to get her to safety via solving puzzles. But there are monsters on the vessel, so be careful. The game uses the Unreal Engine 4 graphics engine for the mobile versions as well. This concludes the Publisher Mobile Gaming Roundup of PLAYDIGIOUS for the year 2023.